I can talk, Jesus.
You can talk?
No.
Can you talk, please, Mark?
Really can't talk.
Why not?
Got no brain.
Allaby Bedders in bits.
Welcome to In Bits with Allaby Bedders from Ideal Noise Studios in London. I'm Matt Allaby.
I'm Bedders.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm all right, mate.
Are you?
Yeah, just about holding on for dear life.
Well, this one's probably going to be we're going to ease back in with this one. We've got a great interview, but we just have a reflective, I think, a slightly reflective podcast this. And then there's going to be a super fun one released in the coming weeks, and then we'll get back into the flow of things.
Yeah, I've got to dip our toes in.
Let's just have a chat. When this whole lockdown thing happened, right? I had this romantic ideal, I think, or idea, I should say, that there'd be like loads of time to work on music, and stuff. We'd be able to do loads of podcasts, and I was kind of, obviously it was a global event that we couldn't quite process yet because it was about the processing had to come weeks later.
Well, we knew we had a lot of time on our hands, and
this is the thing. I thought I had a lot of time on my hands. Actually, the reality of it was I had way less time than I thought I had because my daughter, I had to look after my daughter because my partner had a job and I didn't anymore.
Yeah, you were a full-time dad and just had the evenings.
I was a full-time dad, and the evenings, forget it, because by that point,
knackered.
I'd been up since 6:30, and I'd had a 2.5-year-old who's, she's one, determined lady. Yeah. I mean, God bless her, she's the best. I love her. But at first, at least I was thinking we could do more podcasts. We tried to do some video podcasts, and that was fine. It was an early experiment. And I thought we'd have time to do that. In the end, none of us had time, and
or the mental kind of capacity to do it,
or the equipment really to make it look good.
Yeah.
Now it's something we're going to get back to. I'm sure we'll manage it in the future. But then on top of that, I actually got COVID-19.
Yeah. Are you feeling better?
I'm all right now, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm chipper.
You're still doing the old clearing the throat thing.
Yeah, well, look, don't worry about that. That'll all clear up at some point, I'm sure. I'm sure there's no lasting damage.
No. Scarring of the lungs.
There's a lot of things in those first few weeks where it was like, oh, yeah, we'll have this, we'll do that. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, I'll write a screenplay. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, you set me the task of...
None of that happened. I'll tell you what I managed to do, Mark. Literally, in those first 6 weeks, probably the biggest achievement was adding 10 more kicks to my keepy uppy game in the garden. To football.
Yeah.
Because I went out every morning with my daughter. We had to just get into the exercise. When we weren't really allowed to leave the house, we had our garden, which was a saviour. And I just had to keep Rowan busy, and I actually just started doing keepy uppies.
You got really good at keepy uppies.
I got pretty good at it. I've been rubbish all my life, and I got pretty good at it. So and that all happened. So I got the COVID, and then so I thought basically rather than dying, I better give myself the best chance possible. So I gave up the booze.
Yeah,
because I like to have a little.
You like a sherry in the evenings.
A sherry in the evenings, most evenings,
most.
Take the edge off.
Yeah.
So I gave up that, and then the vaping. I've been a vapist since I gave up smoking,
which is how long?
10 years ago, something like that. So I thought, well, I'll give that up as well. So I stopped everything at once,
and had COVID.
Then it got really real, Mark. I've got to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fascinating things I think to come out of it. We almost got back to this kind of tribal way of life. If you think about it, we were cutting our own fucking hair.
Yep. Well, you did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you did it really well. You got the trance mullet.
That's something that you'd never even think of doing.
No.
I didn't have any business anymore, okay? So the noise of business stopped. And then it was like, I was very stressed about that. But once the stress of that was relieved, because it was like, well, I can't do anything about it. So fuck it, I've just maybe lost the business. So once that noise had gone, and then once the noise of the news had gone, because I decided to just stop watching the news, the noise of like, your latent alcoholism had gone because I'd stopped drinking. There was no nicotine to keep me going. There was no, like, all of that was...
All of your vices.
Everything had disappeared, but not only that, like the stress of work and everything else. So, and the stress of London, a big city, that noise. Can you imagine all these distractions there every day, every minute of your life? So all that went away, and what was left... it was interesting and also terrifying.
Yep. You're faced with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that thing. It's like doing ayahuasca or something.
Yeah.
It's like literally was like that, but without doing any drugs. That's the thing. You were left with that kind of feeling of this disassociation of, say, the ego and the world around you, but without being on psychedelics.
Yeah.
So, for me, I realized for the first time, probably in my life, that was the situation I was in.
Yeah, you literally left to like your own thoughts.
I think I've learned a lot out of it, and we'll continue to learn out of it.
And with parenting as well, it's kind of, I guess for me, I definitely feel like I've...
Well, that was the saviour, really.
Yeah,
for me,
I've definitely become a better parent, I think.
I definitely had a wonderful bonding experience with my daughter, because there was no other option. There was no nursery anymore or anything, so I had to just become a parent, a proper parent who looks after you all day long. A real fascinating scenario, and also like a reflective time for me. Yeah. And let's face it, this podcast is it's never going to be fully just reflective and zen and spiritual.
No,
it's always gonna. But it's nice to at least come back to that kind of center a little bit.
Yeah.
And actually realize what, us having these conversations are, and this podcast is all about, because it was sort of not fighting against, but adding to that vibe of, okay, let's think about self and consciousness and all that kind of gear, which is, of course, it's massively important, but we also exist in a kind of form-based reality. So it's about now balancing those two things.
Yeah.
And you're only going to be happy if you're able to balance those two things. You're only going to be happy if you're able to get rid of all the noise, all the distractions, and be happy with yourself.
Yep.
And then you can be happy with this kind of form-based reality, which we all love.
Yeah.
We get to take the piss out of each other and fucking go and have a pint in the pub and, go and watch the footy. And all that kind of
as long as you're happy without all the other distractions that you normally have.
Yeah, now, that's a journey that, that it's going to take a long time to get to. And I've realised that I'm going to have to go back to that spot. That's terrifying at some point in my life. But fascinating to be forced to go there.
Literally no choice.
Because, if you think about it, you've not really had to do that. If you.
Never.
Because from the time when you grow up, your parents are your focus. Okay,
Yep.
It's not you. It's your parents. You're not the focus. Then it's your friends. Then it's on from that. Maybe
college or uni or studying or
then
job.
Some booze, maybe some drugs.
Yep.
Wanting to get lost in this, lost in that. Focus on this, focus on that.
Career.
There's not a single point I've realised through my entire life where I had to sit with myself.
Yeah, exactly
Apart
the same.
from, okay, you might have done a yoga retreat or you might have done some psychedelics, but if you do that, you still come back to yourself, your form-based reality afterwards. There's not this extended period of time where you have to sit in this very visceral scenario.
I've struggled with it at times. It's been full power.
It has, yeah. I mean, I think we should talk about it. It's something worth talking about before we get into the sort of silly stuff.
Yeah.
Is that my WhatsApp thing going?
Yeah.
That was Regan just beeping me on the WhatsApp. Coming up after this, slightly reflective intro to the show, which you're not normally used to hearing. We've got our most fantastic interview with Regan. We thought it'd be of Nano Records, of course, and we thought it'd be a really great first-rate person to have back on the first show, just to talk about the current situation and what artists are doing, what record labels are doing, and what the music scene or the trance scene or whatever it is you're involved in is doing, and maybe what the future of that is.
He's so well placed to do it.
Yeah, because that's all he's been thinking about the whole time. He's a clever boy and he's a lovely lad.
That was a great interview.
And it's a great interview as well. And anything else to add, Mark?
No. I've forgotten how to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, that's why we did this show, to come back, because we're going to have to ease back into it.
Yeah.
Mark's forgotten how to talk.
Literally forgotten how to talk.
Literally, there's brain matter dribbling out of his ears right now. And just so you know, we've got another podcast coming up soon, which was a lost pod, we did just before actually way before. We did it last year.
Yeah, November.
And we were drunk out of our minds, and it's going to be hilarious, and it's just classic Allaby and Bedders nonsense.
Yeah.
But this one is a nice reflective. Let's all just get back together, talk about the music scene, where it's all going, what we're all doing, how we're getting through this, how we're going to get through this, and we are going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. Yeah? All right, let's crack on. Let's play a track before we hear Regan. What are we going to play, Mark?
Now, of course, the message is stay at home. Don't stay at home. Try to get out to work. Don't go to work. Keep your distance from other people, but, talk to each other and get close to each other. Listen to Allaby and Bedders. Don't listen to Allaby and Bedders. That's the message. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome head honcho of one of the world's most popular and loved psytrance record labels. It's Nano Records, which has been running for almost 20 years, is that right?
20 years this year.
20 years this year. He's also head organizer of the Origin Festival in South Africa and was instrumental in running the amazing Origin stage at the legendary Glade Festival. A gentleman, a father, and a father figure. International purveyor of psychedelic trance music, or as I like to call him, boss. It's Regan, everybody.
Woo!
Hey! I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm on the show.
Yeah.
You made
It's
it.
a dream come true for me.
You made the cut, boss.
I made it.
How's it going, mate? I know thanks for joining us, because I know your schedule is mental today. What's actually happening today? What have you got going on?
Well, just setting up some streams for Unite. When everything started to go tits up. Michael Enoch from Iboga got hold of me, and he had this idea about getting a group of people together and sharing our resources and our networks. And so we started with, and that was how the Unite was born. So that's been going. I think it's on 16th week now.
Wow, cool.
And the plan is probably when everything blows over eventually one day, we'll probably keep it going, but maybe not at the same rate.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month. We'll see how it goes.
Keep it going, but dial it back a little, maybe.
Dial it back a whole lot. But it'll still be there as some like a shared kind of way of expressing our culture and sharing it through loads of channels. It's amazing to see the reach you've got with it. So anyway, that's one of the things I'm busy with. And I was chatting to a promoter overseas just about how we can combine some streaming and events and that. Don't want to go too much into it, give the game away, but we're so that was an hour this morning.
Okay.
That was unintended.
Well, might as well just talk about that now then. Like, where do you see like this situation that we've all got ourselves, or someone got us into by eating a bat at least?
Yep.
I can't possibly see personally like large events happening as normal again until, let's say, there's a vaccine or something. But I'm sure there's more intelligent people than me working on this situation. So, even if that's not going to happen, where do you see the kind of for the foreseeable future, and what are you advising your sort of artists about this sort of situation?
It's impossible. It's changing day by day.
Yeah.
From day one, we've had artists messaging us, when's it going to be over? What do you think? I was like,
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. Our crystal ball, we have a crystal ball. It's not very big, and it doesn't see that far into the future. So it's anyone's guess. Obviously, there are a lot of people discussing. We have been discussing it with various promoters around the world. I know Boom Festival are planning something in the next week or two that's going to be really interesting. Online kind of discussions about this as well. Obviously, we've seen the whole streaming thing. Everyone at their homes getting kind of fed music that way. I think the next step is going to be when we can gather in certain amounts of people. You're going to find maybe streaming to larger groups.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's and we spoke about this for years. We've all discussed it somewhere behind a stage one day. Oh, imagine one day we won't even be traveling to the gigs.
Yeah.
But that'll suck because you want to be there for the crowd and. I know certainly for myself and most DJs, when you're at the gig, you're reading the crowd. So to play to a crowd across the world, it's tricky unless there's some kind of feedback loop.
There's multiple issues with that, isn't it? I think the technology's just not. We weren't ready for that because the technology's just not there yet in terms of a virtual gig or a virtual festival. Because
I think it's close. I think it's pretty. I mean, you can probably get away with a lot.
But the thing that I'm thinking about is part of it is the experience of like friends and hanging out with friends and the journey to the gig and after and all of that kind of stuff as well. That bit needs kind of figuring out. But I suppose virtual worlds are being created and you'll be able to see possibly your friend there in the future and all that kind of stuff.
There is. I have had a lot of calls from promoters of various kinds. Not just Side Trials promoters, friends who are promoters in other festivals around the world and people coming with ideas about technology and those kind of things, VR, this, and there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of things. I haven't seen anything work super well yet. No. So I think, we're going to see even from where we are now till a week from now till a month from now, there's going to be solution or new ideas, not necessarily solutions, but new ideas popping up.
Yeah.
People are trying them.
You've got to look for the opportunities.
Something will come along. But we just, it's also been a case of everyone kind of thought, I mean, I've been joking with my brother. He moved to the UK recently, last year.
Gareth?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, great.
He moved last April.
Oh,
and of the Commercial Hippies fan.
Shout out to Gareth. I can't wait. I'll see you soon, mate, hopefully.
Well, he's stuck in South Africa. Yeah, it's the story. Basically, he moved here. We were sitting here beginning of the year. He was in between places. So we thought, okay, cool, 6 weeks is all going to blow over.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's now there for 6 months. And at this point, he's not getting back till September. So, and that was, March. So we've all been looking at I think a lot of us have also been like, okay, we'll just wait for this to blow over. We'll do some free streams in the meantime. And keep the name out there. And we'll do a bit of this. And no one wants anyone.
I just noticed the other day that I'm booked for an event that I didn't even know about. I'm on a lineup for an event in August that got moved from June, and nobody even contacted me about it. I just found it on the internet.
You saw the lineup?
I just saw the lineup, and I'm on it. So no one still knows. August, yeah. I can't remember which one it was. It was either the Hungary one or the Germany event, but one of them moved to August. I don't know. I don't think I'm playing it. I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't know what they were thinking. Hopefully, they just keep selling tickets, and hopefully it'll all blow over, and by August it'll be cool. I don't know,
I can't imagine anyone's buying tickets right now. Anyway,
I can't imagine that's happening. I mean, I'd like to ask also, what have you noticed? What's the kind of feeling from the artists in terms of are people generally wanting to hold on to music a little bit more, because obviously that's how we earn money is from gigs. So releasing music almost feels like crazy right now if there's no way to earn money from it. So
it's as we went into lockdown, I kind of went on Instagram and made this whole post, don't worry, we're going to keep the music going, and I was ripped off about that by some of my friends, but it was good. I think people needed to hear that. It was good to hear that the world wasn't going to stop.
Yeah,
haven't released anything in July,
right?
And that was just because I needed a bit of time to just refocus on things and rejiggle things and working on some new ideas, and just with that constant pressure of getting the next release ready. It's just I don't have the mental space to work on the bigger plan. So I just thought, normally we take August off for festivals anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say usually summer is a quieter period for labels.
So we normally release kind of halfway through July and then take August off. So I thought, let's just leave July. We might actually start up again in August already because now
cool.
it's fine. Some guy, no, a lot of artists have struggled with writing music.
Yes.
Just because of the corona fog. There's just this, you know, what's going on in the world. It's not a very inspiring time. Some artists, a few, have just locked themselves away and cracked on with it and have been really successful in finishing music. But I would say that's like 10%.
Yeah.
So whether or not we should or we shouldn't be releasing music, just like
there's no answers. Fully,
there's no answers, and you don't want to be the artist that when things do start up, no one's heard from you for however long. And I have told artists that, you know, there's not a panic. Beforehand, we kind of had a schedule like, okay, we need to get stuff out. We need to get stuff out. Keep your name alive. Keep people like DJs playing your music. Now it's like, well, let the back catalog do the work.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of streams going on. Like, just try to do like one like choice stream or set, like every 6 weeks or so, or once every 2 months, so that people see it. I mean, certainly with the platform we've got with Unite, there's no better way to kind of promote right now just to get an artist heard.
So where can people find that Unite?
Basically every weekend. We took one weekend off. We might probably take another one off soon again, but it's either through the Nano channels on Facebook or YouTube, but through all the partners. So the partners are like, there's loads of partners, including obviously Aboga, Trance Central, DM7, Spin Twist, Tesseract. I'm going to forget a whole bunch now. Boom.
Yeah.
And so all the
that small organization,
that little festival,
FM bookings, and there's a whole bunch, and it changes every week as well. We add other people, season bookings as well in Brazil, and depending on which artists are playing, those artist pages also get used. So the stream goes out, and then it's on YouTube thereafter as well. So it's a great resource, and that's been left behind. So of this period, people can go back, and there's all kinds of artists on there. So it's great. When lockdown kicked in, I remember it would have been an email you would have got.
Yes, I was going to mention it. I actually appreciated that email a lot. I mean, it was very.
Okay.
It felt very.
I did like two. I meant to I did like one, and then the next week I did another big one to all the artists. I was going to do another one, then I was like, I think I kind of got lost in the cloud,
I appreciated it because it felt quite calming, and it felt, even though. At the time, the last thing I could think about was music, because I had to think about what was happening with my kid and, who's going to take care of that and how I was going to pay the rent directly and am I going to lose the studio and all of that. But it still felt very, very calming, that email. So I appreciated it a lot. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, I just kind of needed... We had a lot of our artists getting hold of us, like I said, asking about the crystal ball. And then I just kind of thought, well, it's a good time to just... If you can make the mental space to get creative, at the same time also just hold back. None of us know what's going on, so it's like it's a mantra I've been using. It's taught me a lot about myself and my lifestyle in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
because I've just been on this mantra of use what you got, use what you have. It doesn't help that I get every day and the summer sales now from various plug-in companies. Get this, get that. It's like, actually, I don't need another compressor.
No.
And and I've got enough, and I've got
I
enough
do. You
delays.
send it to me. I always need
it. Exactly. This is the thing you can't. I want it.
The thing is, what I'm going to talk a bit about in the podcast is just the kind of when all those sort of systems and that noise that we're used to sort of dies away, then you're left with a certain amount of stuff that you've got to look at more deeply, and that's what's been fascinating about this whole kind of process. So there's been a lot to learn there through that. I mean, you've just been cranking it out. Your work rate's been phenomenal since I've met you. It's been quite incredible.
Yeah, kind of add too much to my plate. I've always done that.
But
it's to the detriment of my own music, though.
But that's helped a lot of other people. That's been the
totally. I get off on helping people more than anything.
Yeah,
I know that about myself.
Yeah, and fucking hell, does this? Any scene needs people like that. So it's
Nice one.
But
More leaders.
It puts you in a position, to answer, which is why we wanted you. We wanted to talk to you about this, obviously, this kind of situation. And also, just sort of the psytrance, I think the scene in general, in terms of, the way it's splintered, even before this sort of situation. Because I got disillusioned for a little while. I've had my sort of love-hate sort of relationship with that. And sort of the way that the music kind of splintered off and became, I don't know, there's been attempts obviously to make it more commercial here or there or whatever. Because for me, it had a certain hypnotic feeling to it, which is the most important thing to me. Yeah. And it had that kind of, psychedelic, you could call it spiritual, whatever. I always like to relate all of that kind of feeling back to science in some way, but there's certainly some, mysterious thing that we're
mystical.
I mean, you could call it mystical, whatever it is, but it's that thing that reminds us that it's there, and that we are sort of, we're part of the world, but we're not necessarily of it. There's another way to look at things. So that was what fascinated me about the scene always. And do you still think it's got a part to play in that kind of that existence? That
I definitely think so.
Because it's become a big business, hasn't it? Since we first met each other, for example.
Totally.
It's gone from this cute little party scene, to this big business. So I'd like to,
I think there was probably big business around. Well, there was some degree of bigger business in what we were doing when we started, but as we've grown, we've kind of got closer and closer to it, and obviously there is other elements of big business that have come along, artists that have really crossed over from the scene into the EDM scene. Yeah. And that scene's got nothing to do with our psychedelic scene. Yeah. Sure, on somewhere like Beatport, it's classed as the same music, but you'd not really mix one of our tracks or Tristan's tracks with one of those, but
mention no names.
Mention no names. Yeah.
But then there's the artists there that he's worked with, for instance. So there is a cross pollination, and I think it's a cool way of certainly introducing people to the music, which might pull them in deeper into the scene. Yeah. And ultimately get them onto an outdoor dance floor that's got a solid psychedelic vibe going on it, as opposed to microphones and flashes and that kind of thing.
We have Charlotte DeWitt, the techno DJ, has been playing psytrance.
Has she?
Yeah.
Has she really?
Yeah.
What, slowed down to 125?
Yeah, she randomly will drop in a psytrance.
Oh, wicked. That's good to know.
Lenny Kravitz does as well.
Yeah, because I
Lenny Kravitz.
Nina Kravitz.
Nina Kravitz. I was going to say Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz. Well, you never know.
How could he do that?
It's good to know, because I've been dropping techno into psytrance since 1997, and people used to get really annoyed with it. They still do, actually. So it's good that they're doing it the other way around now. That's nice to hear. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I've got no ill will about the sort of commercialization of the city. It is what it is. If there's a market there for it, fine. If someone enjoys it, fine. But I sometimes wonder whether the sort of, psytrance still has a kind of, holds a sort of legitimate place as something that could be considered, like a spiritual, journey, or is it just a holiday? Is it just an entertainment system now?
It can be whatever you want it to be. If you want it, I think it does more so than other genres. It obviously has that kind of, that's still that essence of coming from Goa and India and all that, the iconography that goes along with a lot of the artwork. It's got a history, and the visual, a lot of the visionary art that it kind of combines with. Is, and obviously just the name psychedelic. Psychedelic as a lifestyle is about opening up to other things. So it's the key, I suppose, is still in the name. I think it's still there. Whether or not people want to be taking psychedelics or living a super psychedelic lifestyle or not, it's even just that kind of vague consciousness of what it means to be psychedelic. I see it at our own events. I see it at Origin all the time. I've seen it over the years. I've seen kids arrive there. Awesome thing over a couple of years where you've seen kids who arrive from rough neighborhoods, kept sideways, hip hop vibes. Some of them, and admittedly, some of them who have come from gang lifestyles, and who've, like, you see them a year later, and they've got dreadlocks, tie-dye top on, baggy tie pants. Their life's changed.
Yeah.
They've seen it in a different way, and that's from the music. So and that's happening all around the world still. You know, it depends on. And that's where that commercialization of thing comes in. Also the image and what is portrayed, like what the promoter and what the organization and what the artists, what they're pushing through. The samples are sometimes I go nuts with some of the ridiculous samples, like vocal samples artists put in there. Like, what are you thinking? You've got people hopefully in this open-minded space on a dance floor having a great time. You're putting out some kind of negative or just something that just refers back to like the most commercial part of our world.
I agree.
Where you could be taking them into this consciousness about...
You have a great responsibility, essentially.
Yeah, you do.
And I think it worries me sometimes. No, it doesn't worry me. I think about it sometimes, like some of the people that might be have the opportunity to take on that kind of responsibility might not have been through enough of a world history or a psychedelic experience to actually to take it on in the right way, perhaps. But
that's true.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but I think that's what you need. And then, everyone's got their part to play. There's some people who are just going to look at it as this is a dance music form they like, and they're going to try and milk it and do whatever they can, and good luck to them. That concept's wrong. It's up to them to do it. But I think ultimately, hopefully, there's a lot of artists that have come into this scene because of exactly what we're talking about. They've had that experience on the dance floor. They want to recreate that for someone else and be part of that process and push out those vibes. And that's why I think you'll find there's some artists particularly who will really stand out because they're just pushing out this positive vibe the whole time in their interviews, in their Instagram, their socials, whatever it is. And then when you hear the music, you hear that. They're not trying to mess you up with it, or they're not trying to freak you out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing any of the darker stuff as well. I think that's dark and light. It's all part of the same thing. But
it all has to exist
for it all. But it's more about making sure it's right for the time and right people pushing people to the right place to think about the right things, not just throwaway culture,
Oh, Allaby Bedders.
That was part one of the interview with Regan. It's quite a long interview, this, and we just thought, let's just let it roll.
Let's have a chat in between.
And we'll get back to the second part of the Regan interview after this. I was just thinking about irresponsible parenting, which I've been experiencing. Because obviously I had a lot more time with my daughter recently.
Yeah.
And I've had to take her to the park every day or find things to do. And it's quite hard, actually, when you have your kid every day. It's like you need different things to do every day. So you really struggle for that because you've got to take them out for their required exercise time and wear them down a little bit.
Yeah, massively. I really struggled coming up with stuff for my son.
But on a very basic level, like the school next door to us, which is like a big private school that owns loads of grounds, they opened up their grounds just for the public during this whole lockdown.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we're not using it, so just use it like as a public playing field. So if I wasn't taking her to a park, I'd just take her there, and we'd just try and invent games.
Yeah.
And just, but I did realise how slack I'd become and slightly irresponsible with some of those games. Because I'll just go along with it, Mark. Like, whatever she says to me, like, this will be a great game, Daddy.
Yeah, you just go with it.
Yeah, I just kind of go with it.
And
I'm
see
like,
where
okay,
it goes.
let's do that game then.
Yeah.
And one of the games was, let's throw a stick at each other. So she just picked up this stick, which was half her size, and just started throwing it at me. I was like, yeah, that's a good game. Yeah, so I started throwing it back. And that all went fine.
Yeah.
Until it clipped her on the side of the head. And then I thought at that moment, I could have taken her eye out with that.
Yeah.
That's not a good game.
Poor little Rowan.
That's very irresponsible. Other things, what I've been trying to teach her football. I mentioned keepy uppies.
Yeah, you got a new record.
She's brilliant, Mark. She's right and left foot. She can dribble with the ball. I'm really quite excited. I might have a footballer.
What are you hoping for? Midfield?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe midfield.
Box to box?
Yeah, maybe a Rooney kind of role. Something like that.
Just shoot from outside the box.
She's really good, but I tell you what, she's fucking lazy. She'll play it for 5 minutes, then she'll get bored.
Oh, I bet you're furious at that.
I'm furious, mate. I mean, she's 2.5. I should probably give her a break. So I've been playing football with her in this field anyway, taking it football out there. And so she'd be out like 50 metres away or something like that. And I'd just start pitching like David De Gea style kicks at her.
Full power.
Like just full power ones. Just thinking it'll go somewhere nearer.
No.
But actually sometimes getting very close to hitting it, you know what I mean? Yeah, also that something that annoys me that I've noticed, Mark, which is maybe not irresponsible. It's irresponsible to get angry at it, but I've noticed that when two worlds of toys are blended together, I get very frustrated.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
So your sort of OCD kicks in.
So if the doll's house is mixed with, say, Peppa Pig Lego,
Furious.
I'm furious.
Yeah.
I'm really angry. I'm not angry, but I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
There's some sort of OCD thing there, I think. And also, like, you understand the scale is wrong. I can't deal with that.
No.
Like the scale of like she's got like a toy truck, for example, and playing that with like a Peppa Pig Lego, or a dolly which is like a foot long.
you can't handle a
cannot
doll on a Lego truck.
I cannot handle this.
It's the wrong size.
It's the wrong scale. Chewbacca should not be
no in a dollhouse.
In a doll's house, that's 4 times the size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's irresponsible, but yeah, it's definitely making me angry.
It's a frustration.
It's a frustration.
Yeah.
And, during these times of frustrations, Mark, that's one of the main ones.
Yeah. Well, we'll get through it, mate. We'll get through it.
Let's get through this podcast, get back to Regan.
Let's do it.
It's much more interesting than this dribble. Should we play a track first?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, let's play a tune and we'll get back to the second part of the interview with the wonderful Regan from Nano Records. What track we're going to play?
You alright? Carl here. I'm on a Zoom rave with my girlfriend Jane and about 20 other mates. Say hello, Jane. Hiya. My mate Simon's passed out. He's 4 windows down and 2 to the right on the Zoom window. I just double dropped. I'm coming up like a bastard. Actually, I'm not in a club. There's no chill out area. Can I have a massage in the kitchen, please, Jane?
The hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, we'll get to the hard-hitting questions.
Good, yeah.
Actually, yeah, as we're talking about music, before we get there, is there like a new sound or a new act or something like that that's recently that you've sort of got excited about, like in the last, 6 months or the last year, or something? Yeah, or something coming up that you've heard that sort of tweaked your interest?
What has been interesting, actually, we've done this Kilowatts remixes competition. We had 500 people submit remixes.
Wow.
It's taken us a hell of a long time to go through them, a bit longer than we had hoped and expected. Also, again, the Corona cloud, it's been a bit tough to get everyone lined up on the same page. Someone's listening to them and then someone hasn't got to them. But we're pretty much there now. It's been interesting to see what's out there. There's a lot of artists. 500 artists.
A lot of rubbish. And then
there was a lot of stuff that just they really should have probably waited another year or 2 before submitting something, but good on them for trying.
Of course,
but it shows that people are keen. But there was some really interesting remixes, and
that's good. Well, that's something to look forward to then.
Maybe about 10. There's probably only about 10 artists I'd heard of.
Wow,
out of those 500.
So, Regan, from 20 years of touring and running a label, if you were asked for just one anecdote, be it hilarious, disgusting...
We always do this with every interview, so... Yeah.
Or even terrifying.
We always want a juicy story or something fun.
If you had a gun pointed to your head and told one anecdote, maybe...
No need for the gun.
No need for the gun, okay.
I'm trying to think of something that's kind of funny or awkward, but my mind's kind of drifted towards, and I think it's because we're talking about that whole mystical or that kind of thing, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I was playing in the Transkei, which is up the east coast of South Africa. I think I played like 8 hours the first night, and I played like another 8 or 9 hours the second night. Party of about 100 people. Rural South Africa, overlooking a river coast over there. Beautiful Transkei Wild Coast. And I played a track that was really big at the time, which we had a Native American First Nations chant in it. And this is around sunrise. And at that time, as I was playing it, it was kind of probably must be like 9 a.m. or something. So the local villagers, Xhosa people, they had woken up, and there were all these mothers with their children kind of up on the hill. And I just remember playing this track to like these 50 freaky hippies down in front of me. And then on the hills, all these people from the village just started getting into this chant. It was amazing to see that kind of cultural connection between this and the First Nations tribe in America and then this First Nations tribe in South Africa, and how just instantly just got everyone moving. And then everyone in front of me was moving to it as well. And that's what I liked about Psytrance. Yeah. It's a global, that global tribal angle to it all. And I constantly thinking of that. I can see it like it was yesterday, that moment, just where everyone suddenly the hills just started shaking around me.
It sounds like
amazing.
A movie.
I can literally,
it sounds amazing.
Everything just started moving. Everyone just started moving. I was like, and we were all one. It was just this connection. It was, across the ocean, everything. And I felt that. And you get that moment on dance floors, and that's what you're chasing, is that kind of. Why it's great to go somewhere like Azora or Boom, these big festivals, eclipse festivals, with people coming from all over the world.
And you get that tribal sort of.
And you just meet everyone from countries you've never heard of. You thought you knew everything, and then you realize, and so I that's always been a moment that's really rung true for me,
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So that's on a beautiful note. On other notes, maybe last Boom, I drank too much while I was playing, and
nice.
And kind of
what happened?
It's great. I learned so much from that set, because I think I hadn't drank anything the whole day. I was like, right, I'm playing, it's Boom, I'm going to be on the case. Yeah. Just an hour before I started playing, I was like, you know what, I'll have one drink now. Yeah. Nice. Just keep the nerves at bay.
Yeah, so I do it.
and dropped my guard half an hour in. Overconfident, went to press Q on the track I was going to bring in, hit Q on the track that was playing with my headphones on, could still hear the track playing, and just heard this roar from the crowd, and nearly knocked me off my feet. Realized what I'd done. I was like, okay, mistakes happen, I'm a human, and it'll happen again. I always say to any DJ, when you make a mistake, I was like, don't worry, it's going to happen again. Yeah. Because invariably a year down the line, you're going to do the same thing somewhere.
Did you manage to keep going?
I started drinking after that, because I wasn't drunk when that happened. I was okay. It wasn't that. It was only afterwards I was like, oh my god, now my nerves, I was gone. Yeah. So I was like, okay, right. So I just had a little bottle there, and I kind of just kept having sips, just trying to calm the nerves, and it was great. And I was feeling strong, and the rest of the set was strong, and I was super happy with it. But the minute it finished, my adrenaline just went. And it was everything that was holding me up just kind of let me loose. And I remember trying to pack my bag up. Alex EVP was playing, and I literally fell into my bag head first. And the next morning, I couldn't remember that. I walked back from the stage to the camp, and I was like, you know what?
I mean, that's still
funny how you learn.
It's a great story, but even like in my book, that was still like very well handled. You know what I mean? Like only forgetting the way from the stage back to the tent and nothing else. That's pretty good going.
Yeah. No, that's good. No, we've certainly got stories from some of our artists who have arrived in countries after a gig, arrived home, being arrested on the flight, not showing what they did on the plane.
Sure.
And that kind of thing. I'm not going to mention names. And,
sure.
And so Yeah, I haven't got
because
anything
it's
too rock and roll like
related as well. Do you remember our beloved boy Anselm when
Yes.
he had a similar incident on the? We've all done it.
Yep.
And we've all
Yeah.
done it, and like we will continue to do it, as Regan
Yeah.
said. But it was back in the day, and it was on the Origin stage. I remember quite clearly. I think it was the first festival that I went to, which was either the first Glade or the second Glade, or the first Glade festival I went to, I
Yeah.
should say. And he was playing. Unfortunately, it was back in the day when the CDJs flipped up. You know, so
God.
if you
the
you
real
hit
old
the
school.
eject button, which he
Yeah.
did during his
Yeah.
set, and it stopped, and then there was a pause, wasn't there? And then it goes doing, and the lid just flips up. So there was no way you could style it out. There was no way you could
Yeah.
say, do that sort of embarrassed.
the
What's
sound
going
back."
on with the sound system, guys?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that lid had just set the whole story. You know, like, yeah, it's great.
Oh, I love that.
Standard procedure.
You take it more personally than anyone else.
Oh my god.
Of
The
course.
crowd,
I get it.
30 seconds later, the crowd's like, cool, whatever, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like,
My legs.
I've got an hour and a half, don't do it again.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we're going to let you go in a minute, mate. We've got
Good.
a quick fire round.
Quick fire.
A fun
yeah.
quick fire round about the Nano roster. Answer
Okay.
as honest as you like.
yeah.
We could always take it out afterwards.
You guys live over in the west of England. A lot of the Nano roster.
A lot of the Nano
Yeah.
crew seem
Yes.
to have. It's some village called Nanonia or something. You've found this little spot over in the
Nano Shire.
Nano Shire, yeah. You know,
West
out of
Country.
that, I guess out of the entire Nano roster, not out of just that group of people, but you must have got to know each other quite personally as well, as you're all kind of living in a similar
Yeah.
sort of area
Yeah,
and
we're
stuff.
all pretty
Got to
tight.
hang out a bit more and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so who is the biggest diva?
Well, there's
Oh.
probably two. But they're actually pretty easy to work with. I can't say.
Okay, no
yeah,
worries.
But in fact, we're actually very lucky in that the artists that maybe some people perceive as divas,
Yeah,
really, from our perspective, aren't as far less than people might imagine.
I know they're all sweethearts.
Yeah, and everyone, and it really mostly comes about from when people do act diva-ish, it's more because they're just wanting to do what they do as best as possible. I don't want anything to get in the way.
Yeah, sure with that.
I don't want to feed that rumors.
No, we knew you wouldn't. We knew you wouldn't. Who is the funniest member of the Nano crew?
Matt.
Yay!
Right.
Was that a setup?
No, not at all. I was
Okay. No,
legit.
no.
Thanks, man.
I would say it's you.
I'll take it.
Who is the best cook?
Who's the best cook on the barbecue or
The braai.
the Nano evening in?
Around here, Jez Larkin-Buddha is pretty.
Yeah.
Got a couple of good meals in him.
Nice.
Tristan's gonna hate me for saying that because he's also.
Just as pretty good.
I enjoy cooking as well. Certainly Tata in Brazil probably takes the cake.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Altruism, yeah, she's a great cook.
Nice. There you go.
Uh,
There's your
yeah,
answer.
she really is. She is, and yeah, we're lucky. A lot of good cooks around.
Good. Who are you most likely to introduce to your mum?
Lovely, sweet question.
What a sweet question.
Yeah.
I mean, my mother's met a
So
lot.
so all of them.
artists. She's met a lot of them.
Who's the top candidate though? Who,
come on.
You know.
Who's the one?
Tristan's the most charming,
There you go.
There you go. Isn't he?
isn't he?
I would introduce him to my mum.
I mean, we've had him on the show and he charmed the pants off us. Who's the biggest liability when they're going abroad? You know, you're going to send someone off somewhere. Who do you worry about the most?
It'd have to be Joe Sonic Species.
Yeah.
But having said that, he's also on the
Professional.
case at the moment. He's doing a great job.
Look, there's been
He's,
some.
he's just someone. He's just when he's having a good time, he doesn't want it to finish, so he'll just extend the flight and.
There's been
he's
some,
famous for that.
back in the day, at least, when me and him have been booked together, it's been an absolute car crash. That's probably, if we found ourselves together at some party somewhere on the other side of the world.
I don't want to imagine it.
Oh boy! But yeah, I love Joe. And that's
he is super funny guy.
Yeah, he's
right
brilliant.
up there with the two of you. Certainly, probably
It's
the people that
embarrassing.
make me laugh the most.
Go on, Mark. You pick one.
Who rocks the best beach fashion?
There you go.
Well, I mean, depends what beach fashion you mean. Probably Tristan.
yeah.
He's probably the biggest beach bum of the lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's always in beach fashion, isn't he?
He's always in beach fashion. You pretty much.
He's never got a shirt on.
He spends so much time on the beach when he's in Goa. You know, he's like.
Who's the most likely to have been in the porn film?
Here we go.
Must be Dexter. He's got the name.
Good answer.
Who would you make the best children's entertainer?
Nice.
The best children's entertainer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all looking for alternative jobs, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to think who can juggle. I think Joe, Sonic Species, would somehow be. I could imagine him.
So he's the biggest liability, but also the best
still the
children.
best.
I think there's somewhere a balance between the two there
Which
somewhere.
one did I want to ask?
I love that question. I just see him as being so frantic that kids would love it.
The wedding DJ. Who would make the best wedding? You know, like a classical wedding DJ.
Yes.
Who would play know which to play before the buffet and after the buffet? Who do you think, in terms of taste of music and that, would make the best wedding DJ?
Taste of music,
or even just who would get away with that job? Because it's actually a difficult.
It's a very
thing to do.
difficult job, and I think I know Dexter's got a wedding set.
Nice.
Well, it's not just psytrance.
No. He played a
Yeah.
friend's wedding, so he's got it ready and waiting.
Oh, there you go. So it'd be Dick, probably.
So
Bit
maybe
of,
only because I know, but I'm not sure who else has it. Who else would have it in them? I mean, Leon Avalon has got an amazing sense for music, and I think people will be surprised by what he listens to. I think in the same way, I also listen to a shitload of music and all kinds of styles. And when I've been at his place, I always, wow, he listens to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, although I don't know if you'd snatched it as the wedding DJ, but he certainly he knows how to bring a good vibe to a party and to the dance floor.
Yeah.
That was a question we were going to ask.
That
who
was
has the
another
best taste
question,
in music?
Who has the best taste outside of psytrance? So Leon there, but Dick would still probably
Yeah,
kill it as the
Leon.
wedding.
I mean, everyone. Dexter's got listens to all kinds of stuff. I listen to Gustavo Burning Noise as well. Mateus Earthspace, but that's him and I have a very similar taste as well.
Okay.
Mateus,
You've got a wild taste.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but when I went to play at Origin, and I had no idea, and you may not still know.
No, I don't.
But Regan plays like a country and western style DJ
Really?
set. Yeah. He plays like country music, and he's serious about it, like on the other stage. And it's a phenomenal set.
Proper country and western.
I had a project with a friend of mine, Toby Two Shoes, who's I think the best DJ.
I mean,
in
great
South
name.
Africa.
Toby Two Shoes.
One of the best DJs I know, really close friend, and we had a project called Circus Swing, and it was just the whole mission was just to play whatever we wanted.
Awesome.
And it started off at Africa Burn, just like the Burning Man regional in South Africa, and where we would just play country and western, rockabilly,
You see, that's fun.
breakbeat, funk, techno, Afro house, a lot of world music and world beat, and just snatch together and drum and bass. And then we would try and trip each other up the whole time. So if someone played drum and bass, then the next track would be a house track. And if you played an Afro beat track, I was going to play techno, whatever. We would we'd try to be schizophrenic as well sometime. And the other time we go, okay, we're going to do this.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, you get into it. It's just it's dance music, just from a different vibe, a different space, different place.
Who is the best dancer on stage, and who is the worst?
Yeah, who's the best dancer out there? Who do you think?
The best dancer
on stage. Who's got the best
stage,
moves on stage while they're playing?
Look, I mean, Tristan's obviously known for it. He's out there. He's hands up in the air. He's going for it. He's got that big persona on stage.
Yeah, I
Jez
love
is
watching
also
him.
great because he's just got this big smile, just beams out of there.
Yeah.
Mateus Earthspace has an amazing little butt wiggle he does when he shakes, when he dances. I've got it on a video. I think I shared it on Instagram a couple of years ago, like a year ago. So he's kind of funky. So probably they're maybe for the dancers. The worst dancer.
Come on, spill the beans. They'll get over it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to imagine everyone's dancing. Because not everyone dances.
Not
Some
everyone
people-
dances, do they?
I mean, Dexter's got this.
I love Dick dancing though.
Side bobble, side bounce, which gets faster and faster the more fun he's having.
Yeah.
So, but
I love
like
that.
Yeah, it's
I
like a
don't think
wind-up toy.
I don't think anyone's going to copy it.
No, he's got.
movie you
Yeah.
see the dance floor, so it's kind of very much his own thing.
Yeah.
But I
You're
love
doing it
When
really
I
well.
see it-
Yeah.
When I see him do it, I really get it. I get motivated.
Yeah.
God, I love his music. I love his sets.
Yeah, it's great. Really good sets he
There's
plays.
not one set I've heard from him in the last 10 years that he hasn't hooked me. Every single time, I'm like, I'm just going to chill at the back, and the next
Yeah,
thing,
so
I'm in
good.
the middle of the floor. Every single time.
Yeah,
Agreed.
So good.
So,
I mean, last question: who does the best podcast?
this is Guy.
It's such a loaded question.
Oh,
Didn't have to be you, Matt.
Ah.
But ably aided on the side there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I
Regan,
love the podcast.
thanks,
you,
man. We wanted to have you. You've been such a great supporter of us as well as a fascinating and talented man. We've appreciated the support you've had for this show. When other people have been perhaps a little standoffish or a little scared, even because
yeah, we say some outlandish.
we might say a couple of outlandish things here and
And
there.
that's
Or
what I love, but that's what I love about it. And I think
But
it's really needed, particularly in the scene. And that's what I do think. What I like about our Nano family as well is when we get together, we laugh and we joke, and we take the piss out of each other. And
yes,
Yeah.
but
it's funny. And
there's no
that's in the
hatred there.
scene.
There's
no
nothing.
hatred.
No, it comes from a place of love.
Totally.
So that's why it's, I think, important
Totally.
for me, at least, to have both sides, because life is just as trippy as that trippy stuff that you think is,
Yeah.
trippy, but
Yeah.
actually, we're just experiencing it for a short while using psychedelics. Actually, life is incredibly psychedelic without even
Totally.
going there. So let's acknowledge that and, have fun in this form-based reality as well as the other thing that we're still trying to find ourselves in, if you know what I mean.
100%.
So that's kind of what this podcast is all about.
Yeah,
and I know
just keep
you
it,
appreciated that. So
Yeah.
thanks,
that's great.
brother.
Good
We're
stuff.
going to let you go and do your great work. And I'll look forward to seeing Unite. If there's anything else you want to promote or actually a track to play, you could introduce now, and we'll play it on the pod.
We've got an interesting release coming up soon. Obviously, I mentioned there's a Kilowatts remixes. We've also got something that's quite interesting is GMS and Menog. It was Bunzy's the last track that he was making sounds with. He was working with Danny Menog. So it's there's 2 tracks there. So he started the tracks with Danny Menog, and then Danny and Rictum have finished them off. So it's GMS and Menog EP, and it's a swan song to Banzi. It's his last sounds he made.
Oh, great.
So that's looking forward to releasing that. That's
And we
coming
can play
pretty
that
soon.
now?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can
All
play
right,
that now.
wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I love
mate.
you, buddy. I'm going to
Love
speak
you
to you
too.
soon.
We love you.
All right, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Big lad.
Are you naked from the waist down?
I am.
Good man.
Freshly shaved. Basically, I shaved from my nipples all the way to my toe.
Sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah.